All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the JP Traders Crypto Training. This is webinar number 8. I have Kryptonic in here with me. I will tell you that JP was out last week. He had a student with him, Felipe, in Miami. Tonight he couldn't make it because he is at the Alta Music Festival. Lucky him. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We usually go over basically the market cycles, where we stand right now, a little bit about the news. We'll go into the calls that we've made. We'll go over a coin of the week, and then we'll go over a short Q&A session at the end. So just leave your questions to the very end, and we'll go ahead and answer those. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and lead it over to Kryptonic, who's going to talk about the market, where we stand, and market cycles.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, everybody. Excited to be here as always. What I love about the JP Traders course is that we give you education every week, not like a lot of the other groups that are just throwing out calls or tell you when to buy or sell. We do that, but we also give you the knowledge and tools so that way you can succeed in the future. So I'm excited to jump into the market update cycle. And the first thing I always want to go over, and I did this last time, and I think this is a great visual presentation to show you where the markets are right now and where they were exactly a year ago today. And the reason I do that is you have to have a long-term vision in this industry. If you're looking to get in now and make a couple $1,000s by next week, I can tell you it may not happen that quick. This is a game of studying, learning, and investing for your future, whether you have goals next year to buy a new car, to get a house, or maybe save for your future retirement. Those are the long-term goals that you should have in this, or maybe even to be financially free and get out of debt, maybe quit your job. But that is a long-term vision. So that's why we want to look back and see where we were last year. So a little update on today. We are at 8,000, about 500 for Bitcoin, 525 for Ethereum, about 65 cents in Ripple, and we'll just talk about Litecoin at 160. So flashing over to last year on this date, March 26th of 2017, Bitcoin was 966. Ethereum was almost 50 bucks, a little over 50 bucks. Ripple, look at Ripple, less than a penny. And Litecoin, $4. Imagine just loading up tons of Litecoin at $4 last year. And earlier this year, it hit almost, I want to say $250 to $300. It almost hit. So even if you just bought a couple of them, I mean, you'd have over thousands of dollars for there. So guys, make sure you have that long-term vision. If you look back last year, these things were so cheap. It's just crazy. Steam's a couple bucks now, is only 17 cents. Golem's like 30 cents now. Pivx is $5. Factum was about 70 not too long ago. So guys, where are we going to be next year? And that's the question that we're all going to talk about and kind of plan out some charts. And next year, I hope you can look back and say, I'm glad that I bought a lot of these coins this cheap, because where they're at today, looking at them at these prices, they're not going to be this way next year. And we're locking multiple X sometime next year. So good little visual presentation. I want to jump into the chart. We drew this chart right now on the screen. We drew this a few weeks ago. And we mentioned this is really the only big chart you should be looking at for Bitcoin. It's showing pretty much a symmetrical triangle, and we're going to talk more about this. But what I really like is we had a lot of volatility for the last maybe month or two. And if you see now, we're coming almost to the end of this symmetrical triangle, and the volatility is decreasing. We're getting less of those big swings from 6,000 to 9,000 back down to 6. It's really just starting to stabilize as we get to the end of this triangle. And we're going to get one of two things, a bullish breakout of the green line or bearish below. What I do like is we mentioned the RSI last time. Right now, the RSI, we're looking at about 39. Typically, for a rule of thumb, under 30 is a really good buy zone, and you should be selling when it's over 70. So we're almost to that buy zone. I think we have another couple days, maybe to retrace a little lower 8s or high 7s, and then we can start heading maybe towards this breakout point. But I brought up a picture of what a symmetrical triangle looks like and how to chart the extension on when it breaks. So let me show you this. This is a symmetrical triangle pattern. I brought it up on one of our investing sites that we use. And what you'll see in this diagram is what exactly we're looking at in Bitcoin. And you'll notice typically on the third or fourth touch to the upside or downside is when we have that breakout. So let's just go back and see. We're looking for a third or fourth touch on the trend line. So we have 1, 2, we had 3. Now we're just waiting on that fourth touch. Hopefully sometime in the next week or so, if we get that fourth touch, we can have that breakout, just as this diagram shows. This did it on the third, but it can do it on the fourth. What this diagram also shows is that the potential price target is the distance between the biggest portion of that symmetrical triangle. So 5.8 is what they were using in this example, from the top to the bottom of that symmetrical triangle. So I did that for our chart, and I have this little orange line to the left that I already pre-drew for you guys. And if we put it right there, that's showing pretty much the highest point to the lowest point of our symmetrical triangle. So we can take that, and that's how the map should look on the next breakout, on how high it could go after the breakout. So we will take that and we'll move it over to some potential breakout points. Let's say it broke out right after the first week of April. And move it down just a little more. Okay. And I'll zoom out. So if we follow that rule, that would put it just above 22,000, above our prior high of almost 20,000. And that does sound realistic that we could hit somewhere in that 22,000 mark and then have another small correction, maybe down to 15 and back up and maybe playing that same type of symmetrical pattern between 15 and 20. If we wait a little longer for the breakout and we break out at the very end of this symmetrical triangle, that would put it a little over 21,000 in that area. Now, it's not going to shoot up right from that point over. If you want to calculate that, there's a way to draw the trend line as you see in this diagram. Typically, it's as long as the bottom base. So, I mean, we can even try to plan that out. And that would probably put it sometime out in June, July, where we could see that back to 20 or 22,000 mark. So people that are in it now and next week, they look at it and it's not at 20,000 and they get discouraged and sell. Those are the people that aren't experienced. They're not following our techniques that we're talking about. So guys, I encourage you over this time to really study, learn, get involved in the industry. Don't just get in because you want to make a lot of money. Get in because you want to learn the technology, learn the trade, and actually learn what this can do for our future. So another thing that I want to talk about is the Google Trends. This is a really good comparison to see where the average person or the sentiment of most people out there are at. So if you look at the Google Trends, the highest peak that it had was between December 3rd and December 9th, where we had that massive breakout. And it's pretty funny. Look here, it's December 10th and 11th, right around this area here. So at its peak, everybody was searching about Bitcoin. How do I get in? How do I buy? But what's funny is when it's at these low, really cheap prices, no one cares. And that's the time where the good investors get in. If you remember the housing market, when the housing market collapsed in 2008, everyone sold all their homes, lost a bunch of money. What did the smart investors do? They scooped up and bought 5, 10, 20 houses back in 2008 when they were dirt cheap. I heard some of my friends got them for $30,000 or $40,000 for some of these homes. And what they did, they either sat on them, renovated them, or even rented them out for 5 to 10 years, and now they are worth 5 times as much. So the smart investor is buying when there's panic, when it's low, and when they know there's good value in that market. They're not buying when there's a big bubble and everything's overextended. So if we go to our Google Trends, that's where we're at now. There's no hype. No one's interested in Bitcoin. It's kind of really fallen off the map and the news isn't talking about it as much. That's when you're a smart investor and you jump in and get stuff now while it's cheap. And when we have that big boom again, that's when we're slowly scaling out. And that's what our course teaches you. And that's why I'm really glad to be here to help you guys understand that. The last thing was really exciting for me. A news article came out last week that Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, mentioned that Bitcoin will be the world's single currency in the future. So we have a lot of these big CEOs out there right now that are putting these big predictions, and they have faith in it and belief in it. They're smart guys. They're not the CEO of Twitter or CEO of these Fortune 500 companies for nothing. And a lot of them are putting their own money on the line. That's how much they believe in it. So Jack Dorsey invested $2.5 million into Lightning Labs, which is a startup company to really help the blockchain network and speed up transactional time and lower fees. So we see all these coins that are coming out, people investing in them. I think he's really doing the right thing by investing in the Bitcoin blockchain, which is really the father of them all, and really trying to help what's important is the transaction speeds and the lower fees. And he suggested a time frame of possibly 10 years. So not many people, the average American or average person out there, can see the future in 10 years. They are so McDonald's society where they care about what's going to happen in 5 minutes from now. Can they get it through the microwave quick and easy? But they don't have that long-term vision. And if you just had a 1-year vision, the returns you would have had is phenomenal. Can you have a 10-year vision is the question. The returns that we can see on the way people are putting Bitcoin at $100,000 or $1 million in 10 years, can you have that vision? So I'm in it for the long haul. I know Cameron is in it as well. We've been investing over time, done very well. He probably won't tell you this, but he just bought a brand new car. I think over the weekend. He's going to pick it up tomorrow. I just got a new car this weekend. Most of it all thanks to Bitcoin. I was able to pay the seller in Bitcoin, which is really cool. And I'm still generating more on a daily basis through trading. So I'm not depleting my inventory. But I'll pass it over to Cameron, and we've got a few more things on the market to go over and then lead into some of our calls from last week.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I call it the crypto Guinea, because we've been able to hold some funds throughout this time, and it's amazing what Bitcoin and the blockchain has really done for us. We've been doing this for 2 years, and I can't say enough. It's really paid off. So with that, it's heartfelt. It's good to buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot, knowing that Bitcoin and this group has really succeeded to get me there. So I'm going to wipe away my tears and get started. So a couple things I want to talk about is a list of the companies who accept Bitcoin at the moment. So as you can see, this is the 99bitcoins.com. So you can see that there's a lot of companies right now taking it. KFC, Overstock, Playboy, Subway, Microsoft takes some, Reddit. You have all these names. Newegg is a popular one. The list goes on and on here. And the great thing about it is that if you want to remain anonymous, you want to kind of trick the system, you can actually do that as well. There's a lot of payment options out there to go ahead and pick up, Bitcoin, turn them into gift cards. Everybody uses gift cards no matter where you go. Be able to spend those. I'm just scrolling down. You can see there's tons of websites. BTC is being adopted worldwide. So with that, we'll go ahead and go into the BTC round 2 that we called within the group. As you can see, this was done on this date right here. We went up, went back down. We actually hit our buy. So we put the call out on the star. We said, if it hits this level, go ahead and buy it. And you can see that we hit take profit 1. We actually told our students to go ahead and take profit if they wanted to put their hands underneath their legs and kind of wait. We could wait for take profit 2 and even further. We just went over the market cycles. We could see going back up into this level. We just, we need to do some of this first. So keep that in mind. We are in that BTC call as of now. The second chart that I'd like to go over, this is a call that we've made a couple weeks ago, was the Verge long. Okay, so this was a long term. When we entered in the trade, we said if we actually go above this level with 3 candles continuous, then go ahead and buy. We didn't do that for a while, so we're talking back on 3.6 here. And the other day, 224, we said go ahead and take this because we've actually had 3 candles close above, and now you can see we're sitting on this level here. It's a perfect little, what do you want to call it, floor there for a ride. So we'll be looking for take profit 1 and take profit 2 coming up. Now the other long-term call that we did before we go into the short-term calls and some of the calls that we put out this week is Zcash. So we are still in this trade. As you can see, we are sitting perfectly. So I drew this line on 315. It's now 325. As you can see, we have just sat on this support line, and we're just waiting to see what's going to happen next. So are we going to go into the buy 2 here, or are we going to hit the max pain? We'll be keeping an eye on that trade as well. We'll go into a couple of trades that were also made in the group. One being DBG Bitcoin right here. So we entered this trade. As you can see, we made a bit of a wedge here, right, to the top line, and we the bottom line there. We actually made this call right about here, okay? So on this day, we said go ahead and buy because we've broken above, and you can see that we've actually gone above that level, which is right about here. So we still are in that call as well. The next one is Lumen. So this was a great call by Kryptonic. You can see we have this rising wedge right here. And what we did is we went ahead, we saw this long wick down here, and we took the call right about here. So I don't know if you can see that. Right where this, let me erase this. Right where this is right here. So we said go ahead and enter here, and now we're still in this buy. Okay. Textbook type of trading here. This is perfect stuff here. So with that, that's the calls that we've gone over, the long and the short. You'll know if they're long or short if you're in our paid group, and you'll know the time frame that you're looking for. So with that, we're going to go ahead and talk about a coin of the week. Where we name a coin, we kind of tell you a little bit about it. With that, Kryptonic, if you're ready, go ahead and take it over.
Perfect. All right, give me just a moment to switch over the screen. There we go. And I just wanted to share a picture of the new car that
Crypto Guinea.
A car that I bought over the weekend.
Next is
bought
the plane.
This with a lot of Ethereum.
Next is the plane.
If you look at hey, I had to fly there in my plane to pick it up, so don't worry about it.
Oh, you do have the plane, area right next to where you live. Probably just sat right down and picked her up.
I could take off. This one, I bought Ethereum back when it was $30. Kind of we were talking about a year ago. Held on to a lot of that. Was able to sell some of that to get a new car. Guys, like I said, just long-term vision. Just wanted to share with you guys, just holding for a year, what it can do for you. But I want to lead into the coin of the week, which is really cool. Let me bring that up. All right, so coin of the week is Wanchain. Just was released from the ICO yesterday. People have been talking about Wanchain probably for over 6 months, wondering when it was going to be released. Well, I caught it yesterday when it finally came out. So I wanted to do a coin of the week review on it. We're not putting out a buy call yet, and I'll tell you guys why, but I want to share with you a little bit about it. So when you do hear it this coming week, most likely on Twitter or any other site, you can say you've already heard about it and you know the strategy for this coin. So Wanchain right now is $4.14, about 49,000 Satoshi, and it's ranked 1,282 in the Bitcoin market for market cap. And the reason it's ranked so high is because the market cap hasn't been released yet. The ICO was about 6 months ago. It finally became public yesterday. And typically it takes about 3 or 4 days for CoinMarketCap to do a good analysis to come up with the market cap. So I'm sure when it releases the market cap in a few days, this could shoot up to possibly in the top 50, top 100 chart, and then go from there. So what we teach in our group is how to really analyze the coin to see if it's worth investing in. So the first thing that we teach is really to go into the website. So we click on the website, and that'll bring us over to Wanchain website to learn a little bit more about it. To save you guys time, I'm not going to read through all this, but I do want to share with you what I learned about the coin from studying it recently. So Wanchain is built on the Ethereum network. It's an ERC20 token. What's interesting is it's got best of both worlds, where it's using the Ethereum blockchain, but it's using Monero's ring feature and privacy features for their hidden transactions and to stay anonymous. Another thing that's really cool is this can work between blockchains. So the best way I figured to explain this is that every cryptocurrency, or a lot of cryptocurrencies, have their own blockchain. Bitcoin has its own chain, Ethereum has its own chain, Monero. But what happens is all these coins are starting to build dApps, or decentralized applications, on their blockchain. But what that means is you have to use that blockchain to activate and use that app. So there's a lot of real world uses, and I'll try to give a really quick example. Is one, let's say for iTunes or maybe a digital media, where the receiving end, like Apple, has a application built into the currency, where if you send Ethereum to it, it pings it, activates the smart contract, knows what you're trying to do, and sends it back to you in the form of a music or a movie. But let's say if you had Monero, you couldn't activate that same decentralized application. You would have to switch your Monero over to Ethereum to be able to use it with that smart contract. Well, that's what Wanchain is trying to eliminate. They are trying to take all these different bridges and run a bridge through all of them to connect every single blockchain together to have one holistic community that works in harmony together, no matter what blockchain you're on, and to be able to let you use dApps on any blockchain from whatever currency of your choice. So really interesting, really cool. I think this is what's going to really change the game and kind of have this separated, where everybody right now is separated between their coins, to bring the community together where they all can work in one cryptocurrency land where everything is unison. What's also really interesting about this is the coin was actually developed by the founder of Factom. Factom is another big coin out there right now. Factom was a couple of bucks when I remember it last year, and I know it shot up pretty high, 26 bucks now. Factom, like I said, if you look back last year, 2017, yeah, it was 3 or 4 bucks. That's when I was looking at it, and now it's 26. So Wanchain, same thing. They're released now. They're about 4 bucks right now. I've heard a lot of price predictions putting this in the 20s within 6 months. Some people might say that's a long time, but to make maybe 5x your money, that's actually not long at all. Going back into Wanchain, this shows actually how it works. They got a really interesting white paper to show how they connect all the different blockchains together, even using their private protocols, which is really good. That's their private protocol. The ring feature, which I mentioned, which is the same thing that Monero uses, where they use a one-time address just for the transaction and then it's gone. Talks about how it can work with cross-chain, smart contract cross-chain. They even have a good roadmap. Another thing that we talk about in our pro course is how to analyze a lot of these topics. Some little hidden secret that I found out about Wanchain is for their liquidity. to be able to do this, they have partnered with the Kyber network, which we've done a review on this before, but I'll bring it up if you don't know about Kyber. Kyber network is a decentralized exchange, one of the first decentralized exchanges that are really coming out strong. It is backed by Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. He's actually heading a lot of the work on this Kyber network platform. So Wanchain is using the Kyber network as their liquidity provider to provide quick access to money for their transmittal service. For Wanchain itself, how the coin gets its value is it's used for settlement process between the blockchains, and it's also used as security deposit for their contracts. So there is a use for the coin as well as the technology. I wanted to validate with you guys so I know I'm not making it up. Jack Liu, the founder of Wanchain, co-founded Factum in 2014. They got a lot of other really big names in here that have had a lot of experience with the Bitcoin technology. So overall, I really like the technology that it's trying to do, the goals it's trying to achieve, and all the stuff they've put out is very well put together. Good white paper. They got the great roadmap and a good product. Now people may be asking, well, when should I be buying it? Well, I will tell you this. The ICO allowed you to buy these at 30 cents a Wanchain. And this was about 6 months ago. And a lot of them, the minimum investment, I think, was 1 Ethereum at the time. And I want to say Ethereum was maybe 500 or so. I can't do the exact calculation. But everybody that bought these at 30 cents, they're going to be dumping eventually. And it just came out yesterday on Binance is where you can buy that. My prediction, like a lot of other coins that have came out after the ICO, is once it got on the exchange and more people found out it was out there, they started selling off their initial investment from the ICO. So the people that bought it at 30 cents most likely will be selling and dumping it soon, which will bring that price down, allowing you to get it a little cheaper. I think in the 4 to 5 range is a little high. I would love to get it in the mid 3s to low 3s. I think would be phenomenal to grab some, hold on to it to next year until maybe it turns to 25 or 30 bucks a coin would be really good. It's only on that one exchange right now, Binance, which limits the potential for people to buy or sell. I would like to see it adopted on some more exchanges as well before it really goes mainstream. But I would put this on your radar. If you're using any of the tools that we teach in the Pro course, add it to your watch list, have it on there. I would even set some alerts. If we want to talk about in the land of BTC, I just want to show you where it's at. I think I actually already have it up somewhere. Here it is. This is the 30-minute chart of Wanchain, and you'll see when it came out. The first day it came out, we had a big spike, and we had a lot of volatility, probably some of those early adopters selling off when it first came out. And then we had some volatility for about a day, about 24 hours, and now we're kind of just in this, I'd say, accumulation or really more of an unknown phase where not everybody knows it's been released yet. If you were going to take a little more riskier buy, I would say if it gets above the 5.0 mark, somewhere on this breakout, you could start a position. But for me personally, I'm going to be waiting until we get to the lower Satoshi level, back down to somewhere around this level here at the bottom of this wick, or the $3 USD value. I think would be a great price to start in at. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about Wanchain. I'm sure you'll hear about it because it's on Twitter a lot this week. People are talking about it, trying to pump it. As long as you guys know that it just came out, a little bit about what it does and kind of where to keep an eye out for those levels, I think you'll be in a good position. So that'll lead up to finishing the coin of the week. Any questions on the coin of the week or potential targets, please feel free to message us in our Facebook group or ask questions at the end of this course. And pass it over to Kryptonic next.
All right. So
I'm sorry.
we did, Cameron. Yeah, that's all right. You're Kryptonic. It's okay.
It's been a long day.
I hear you. So I got a question. One of the first, like, this is a real simple question that I can answer myself. The next question I think I'll leave for you. The one question I got from Steve was, what are the least hackable cryptos, as in, you know, looking at the ledger and stuff like that. So to me, the three least hackable coins, or the ones that won't release as much information as the other ones, would be Z Classic, Dash, and Monero. So if you don't want your stuff out there as of now, that's what I'm going to say. The other question I got, this is from Jennifer. This question, I'm going to give this to you, Kryptonic, is, as we see these other coins rising, why is ETH kind of just leveling? Which I know ETH is like near and dear to your heart, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Ethereum network and why we're just seeing this kind of sidewards pattern. Like, what do you think we're going to see for the future?
Sure, great question. Let me bring up the Ethereum chart, and I'll tell you some of the reasons that I feel behind it. Ethereum to Bitcoin. And let me share my screen, that way you guys have that. And this is a 30-minute. We're going to go to the one-day chart. And we'll zoom back a little bit. Oh, some old charts I used to draw. Back when it was like $300.
Yeah, it's perfect wedge.
All right, well, it broke down after that.
Yep.
All right, here we go. So I think, there's a few things that are bringing down. So Ethereum, number one, the price is based off of the Bitcoin price. So with Bitcoin being really cut in half from where it was, that really brought Ethereum from where it was at $1,000 down to 500, because Bitcoin went from 18,000 down to 800. So that's just one little thing, because a lot of these are based off of Bitcoin value. And I have a lot of friends that don't understand that, and I've really tried to embed into them that the universal currency of cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. So you trade everything within the Bitcoin price range. So when Bitcoin's down, the value of everything else is down. When Bitcoin's up, the value of everything else is up. Now, that's not to say the value of the coin to BTC can change, but in a holistic apples to apples, as Bitcoin rises, the price of that coin will rise as well. So number one, Bitcoin price being down, that's the reason that Ethereum's down. Two, there's a lot of talk about the miners out there, about switching over to proof of stake. So I know some people got scared with that changing. They're releasing Casper, which is an upgrade to their network. But I would say that really the two main things is kind of fear regarding the Ethereum chain on what's going to happen, and just the equivalation of Bitcoin going down would be the two things that I would relate to. I think this price at $500 is a phenomenal buy. You even see it bottoming out right now. I'm thinking within the next 6 months, we can definitely be back to where we were in the $1,000 mark or higher. But I hope he gave you a little perspective. What do you think, Cameron, about the price of Ethereum?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this could easily double, just because of the fact that Ethereum uses a way different type of technology than Bitcoin. And I really believe that, I'm always going to mess up his name.
Vitalik?
Yeah, Vitalik. He's got his hands in so many different coins that I feel he's really onto something. I feel that he is a step ahead, and I feel that he's going to somehow, even though he's on these boards of other coins, somehow integrate those coins into Ethereum, which, in my opinion, would just drive the Ethereum price just even higher. So that's my thoughts. I think we're in a lull right now, but I think that it's a healthy lull. As you can see, this chart is just beautiful, the one that you're looking at right now. And we're down below the 30 RSI.
30 RSI, right?
Yeah, like we talked about before in our previous calls. The last question that we had, and this is from Chuck. Chuck asked, do you believe now that we have Bitcoin inside of the whale market that it could be manipulated? And I think because, you have a background in a lot of this trading stuff, definitely more than myself, that you may be able to answer this more tactful than I can.
Yeah, I'll definitely answer that one. So what's interesting is the same thing happened to the gold market, the silver market, which is happening right now to cryptocurrency. So a lot of people wanted Bitcoin and wanted cryptocurrency to be on the NASDAQ and be on the futures index. And they thought that was a good thing because it would bring mass adoption. In my eyes, it opens the door to more people and more volatility to be able to short, which is short selling, is bringing the price down and betting on a lower price. And it also opens the door to paper trading on what's not really the underlying asset. So give you an example, what they've really done with the gold and silver markets, they've flooded those markets because when you buy a silver contract or a gold contract on the futures exchanges, they're not backed by the physical silver or physical gold. There we go, thanks. They're not backed by the physical silver or gold out there. They are just paper contracts kind of mimicking the price. So that creates all this paper silver and paper gold out there, which really affects the supply and demand because people think there's more out there than what there is. So same thing with Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is meant to have a finite supply that they put out there. And by having all these paper contracts, that can influence the price as well. So in my eyes, having it on the commodity exchanges was good for mass adoption, which had happened around December, and you saw the peak and everyone got excited, everybody knows about it. But on the bad side, it leaves it open to short sellers and creating that much more volatility. So in my eyes, I'm not a big fan of it being on all the exchanges. I liked when it was more under the radar, not everybody knew about it, and you can profit very well. Not to say you still can't in the future, but you'll see a lot of short selling going on and then market manipulation by them running it all the way up, driving attraction, getting people in, and then shorting it back down. So you'll see all that volatility. So I don't know if that answered the question. Was it Steve?
Yeah, Steve. Steve said that's a great that's a great answer. Um, and I kind of agree. I agree with you because we do need mass adoption. Being on the Nasdaq is a huge move. However, it does leave the vulnerability to the whales to be able to manipulate the markets. You can remember a year ago when we were trading, the markets were almost predictable in the fact that we could see exactly what it was going to do. We knew exactly what it was going to do, and now it's a whole nother ball game. And I don't know if you agree with that, but it's definitely changed the way the trading style that I've had on crypto.
Yeah, I mean, these whales have a lot more money. I mean, institutional traders have millions of dollars where they can fluctuate the market to their liking. And we talked about it last week about how Poloniex was purchased by Circle, which is owned by Goldman Sachs, and how the feeling of our team is that they really wanted to drive the price down before they release the new Poloniex and the new sites that are coming out, so they could drive the price down and buy more liquidity and have it available for trading. Because unlike the stock market or unlike some of the other industries, these exchanges typically have to own a lot of that coin to be able to trade and offer that. So with Goldman Sachs buying Poloniex and then really revamping to have an app out there that's going to even beat out Coinbase's app and all the things that they're doing, they feel they need much more liquidity than what they have. So it's very easy for them to manipulate the market to bring Bitcoin very low and all these coins low, so they can scoop all that up over the next few months. So when they release their apps, they have all that coin and all that liquidity available to do that. And I want to touch on what you said earlier because it really made sense. You were talking about how Vitalik Buterin was smart and networking all these things together, and he really has a long-term vision. Well, if you've seen, he owns Kyber Network, or he's partnered with Kyber Network, which is a decentralized exchange. So Vitalik has Ethereum, which is really based on smart contracts and asset transfers. He's got Kyber Network, which is a decentralized exchange where you can trade coins. He's also partnered on Omisigo, which is used in Japan, and it's a payment protocol system, even adapted in some of the McDonald's overseas to pay transactions through the McDonald's network and other payment processors. And now he's also going to be working, and Kyber Network is going to be working with Wanchain, which is the cross-chain payment border. So if you really put all that into perspective, not everyone's going to put all that together, but Vitalik is really working with all these different industries, and Wanchain is going to connect them all together, which is even cooler. So I think we're still at the really founding stages of what can really happen once everything is all intermingled together.
Completely agree. Cool. I didn't see any other questions, so with that, we're going to go ahead and close it out after this. I will tell you, with Easter coming up and a lot of U.S. folks celebrating an Easter, we will let you know if we're going to do our Sunday webinar. We may do it on a Monday. I will let you know inside of the group, so stay tuned for that. With that, unless anybody has anything else, I want everybody to stay safe, stay blessed, and continue to excel with us.